All right, ladies and gentlemen. So now that you've copied down the notes for angle pair relationships, now we can go ahead and do some examples. So for all of these, we're going to find the measure of the missing angle or angles if there's more than one, okay? So let's take a look at the first one here. We have a linear pair, okay? So whenever you have a straight line like this, and then there's an angle formed by an intersecting line. Now, even though it just touches it, that's considered intersecting, okay? And so we have two angles that are adjacent. That means they are next to one another. And so this would be considered a linear pair. Pair meaning two, and then linear meaning it forms a straight line, or there are two angles that are on a straight line, okay? And so since they are next to each other, that means they add up to 180 degrees. So all I have to do is take my calculator here, and then I need to subtract 25 from 180. So I have 180 minus 25. This angle is going to be 155. So A is 155 degrees. The way you would set this up would be 25 degrees plus A equals 180. And then you would just subtract 25 on both sides. The 25s would cancel out, and then you end up with A equals, and then that's what we did right here. Subtract, and we get A equals 155, okay? So if you add 155 and 25, you get 180 degrees. Next one. So on this next one here, we have a right angle, okay? And notice we have another angle coming out from the vertex there. So this would be considered complementary angles because they both add up to 90 degrees. Okay, so complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. So we already have 15 degrees here. We can set this up like this. A plus 15 degrees equals 90 degrees. Notice it's not equal to 180. That's for a linear pair only. For complementary angles, they always add up to 90 degrees. So let's go ahead and subtract 15 on both sides. And then use your calculator. 90 minus 15 is 75. So A would be equal to 75 degrees. Okay. Next one. Now, whenever we have two lines intersecting like this, forming a letter X, then we're going to get what is called vertical angles. Okay. And so here A and B are vertical. They're across from one another. They are not next to each other forming a straight line. Notice they are on opposite sides of a line. Okay, now A and 103, they are a linear pair. And same thing for 103 and B. They are also a linear pair. So what I can do here is I could just take either one of these. I could do A with 103, or 103 would be, it makes no difference. Let's do the A first. So A plus 103 form a linear pair. That means they add up to 180 degrees. So let's subtract 103 on both sides. And so I get A equals, and let's go ahead and do that. 180 minus 103 is 77 degrees. Okay, so that means that this angle here is 77 degrees. Okay, now since A and B are vertical angles, then I can go ahead and automatically say B is also 77 degrees, because remember, vertical angles are always congruent. That means they measure the same amount. Okay, and also if you were to add these 103 plus 77, you would also get 180. Why? Because they form a linear pair on this side. Okay. Now notice here, this one's a unique example here. We have a right angle right on the middle, but it's kind of tilted on its vertex there. And then we have a straight angle here, or a linear pair, right? But a pair means two, right? Well, in this case, we have 1, 2, 3 angles. Now these 3 angles form a straight line. That means it still adds up to 180 degrees, except now we have 3 instead of 2. A pair means 2, right? But we can still apply the same rules. These 3 angles add up to 180 degrees. So how do we set it up? Well, we have A plus, how much do we have here? We have 90 plus 40 equals 180 degrees. Okay? And so let's go ahead and add the 90 and the 40. So 90 plus 40, that's 130. So we have A plus 130 equals 180. Subtract 130 on both sides. And then we end up with A equals, and then we could do this mentally, right? 180 minus 130 is 50 degrees. So this here would be 50 degrees. Notice 50 plus 40 is 90, and then 90 plus 90, that's 180. So we have the right answer. Okay. A few more to go. Take a look at this. We're getting more angles and the pictures are getting more complicated. So what do I see here? I see a 90 degrees here, and then I also see 90 degrees right here. But notice here, these two angles, B and the 26, are on the 90 degree angle there. So that means that these two angles, the 26 plus B, add up to 90 degrees because they are part of this angle here. Okay, and so I can set that one up over here. B plus 26 equals 90. Notice why? Because these two angles are complementary. So let's go ahead and subtract 26 on both sides. Remember, complementary means they add up to 90. So let's do 90 minus 26, and I get 64 degrees. Okay, so I've solved this little piece of the puzzle there. That's going to be 64 degrees right there. Okay, but now I have to find this angle here, A. Okay, now how do I do that? Well, this 90 degree angle here gives me a clue. This is vertical angles. Notice it's like a cross, right? But really, if I turn it sideways, it looks like an X. So in reality, this angle here, A and B, are also 90 degrees. Why? Because they're vertical angles with this one. So that's 90. That means this is 90. A and B form 90. But notice we already know what B is. B is 64. So that means A plus 64, I'll do it over here. A plus 64 also equals 90 degrees. Okay? So just go ahead and subtract 64 on both sides. And I get 90 minus 64. Let's do that. 90 minus 64 degrees is 26 degrees. Okay, so this angle here is 26 degrees. Okay, notice 26 plus 64 adds up to 90. And then over here, the same thing. 64 plus 26 is also 90. Okay, and so that would mean that this side here, 26 plus this angle here, would equal 90 also. And we know that that would be 64. But we don't need to solve that because there's no variable there. Okay, look at this one here. We have three lines intersecting at a common point here. Okay, and so we have 1, 2, 3 lines, and we have several angles that have been formed. Okay, notice we're supposed to find E and F and G. E here, notice, is a vertical angle with 77. Okay, so if I were to go ahead and just think of these two lines intersecting, it would just be 77, and E would be the vertical angle. So this would be 77 degrees right there, simply because they are vertical angles. Okay, now what about 52 degrees? Is that vertical angles with F or with G? Well, to figure that out, you just have to trace over the two lines forming the 52, and then these two right here, this one and this one. So these two here on the other end would be vertical angles with 52. So 52 and G are vertical angles, and so that means that G is 52 degrees, just like that one here. So 77 and 77, 52 and 52. And now take a look here. We cannot say that F is 77 because notice 77 is over here, right? These are vertical angles here. F is vertical angles with this unidentified angle here. But what do we know? Well, we know that this is a straight line. These three angles here form the shape of a protractor, right? A half circle. And so we know that these three are going to add up to 180. So here's how I can set this up. I could say 52 plus 77 plus F equals 180 degrees. Okay, I could have also done it with these two. 77 plus 52 plus F is 180. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the calculator math here. 52 plus 77. That's 129. So we get 129 plus F equals 180. Subtract 129 on both sides. And we get F equals, and let's do that, 180 minus 129. Oops. I get 51 degrees. Okay, so F is 51 degrees. And if I wanted to go ahead and put 51 over here, that's also true because those are vertical angles. Okay. If you have any questions, you stop the video and let me know. Okay. Next one here. Notice here we have 90 degrees here. Okay. And then 49 degrees and then A right here. And they want us to know this angle here, B. Okay. B includes this 90 degree with that angle right there. Okay. Well, notice we have a straight line right here. That means that B, 49, and A add up to 180. Okay. But also notice here, if this is 90 right here, that means this side is also 90. Okay. Because 90 plus 90 is 180, right? So if this is 90 on this side, the 49 and the A, that means those are complementary angles. So let's go ahead and set this up. A plus 49 equals 90. Remember, complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. So let's go ahead and subtract 49 on both sides. And so we get A equals, and let's do 90 minus 49. We get 41 degrees. And so A is 41 degrees. But notice here, I'm supposed to find out what B is now. But remember, B is not just the 90, it's the 90 plus this angle here. Well, notice here, this A, which we found out is 41 degrees, is vertical angles with this little angle right here. So this is also going to be 41 degrees. Okay? And so there we go. This is going to be 41 degrees plus the 90. Let's go ahead and find out what B is. So 41 plus 90 is going to be what B is. So let's add 41 plus 90. And so we get 131 degrees is B. So this entire, these two angles put together are 131 degrees altogether. Okay. All right, last one here. We have a long line here and then two intersecting lines there, okay? And then we have some angles and some missing ones here, okay? So let's do the vertical angles first. Well, 115 degrees is vertical with B, not with A, because notice A and 115 are a linear pair. So B is the one that's a vertical angle, so this would be 115 degrees. Same thing with 160. 160 and D are vertical angles, so those are that's 160 right there. Okay? Now, what about the A up here? Let's go back up here. So notice A and 115 are a linear pair. Same thing with A and B, right? They're a linear pair, so I can just pick any one. We'll just say A plus 115 equals 180. A linear pairs always add up to 180. So subtract the 115 on both sides. I get A equals, let's do the math, 180 minus 115 is 65 degrees. Okay? So this is going to be 65 degrees right there. And then over here, 160 plus C, plus C equals 180. So subtract 160 on both sides. And I get C equals, and that one is easy to do mentally. That's going to be 20 degrees. Okay, there you go. And of course, these are vertical angles here. So that could be 65 and that would be 20, right? That would be 65 and 20. That's it.